welcome to Sarushi classes. So in this lesson we are going to read chapter number 2 of NCERT class 6 social and political sciences, diversity and discrimination. So in the previous chapter you had discussed the meaning of diversity. Sometimes people who are different from others are teased, laughed at or not included in a certain activity or group. We feel hurt, angry, helpless, or sad when friends or others treat us in such ways. Have you ever wondered why this happens? In this chapter, we will try and explore how such experiences are related to society we live in. We will look at how they are connected to the inequalities that exist around us. So, difference and prejudice. So, there are many things that make us what we are, how we live, the languages we speak, what we eat, where, and the games we play and the things we celebrate. So, all of these are influenced both by geography and history of the place where we live. So, you will get an idea of how diverse India is if you look even briefly at the following statements. There are 8 major religions in the world. Every single one of them is practiced in India. We have more than 600 languages that are people's mother tongues, and there are more than 100 dance forms. Yet, this diversity is not always celebrated. This is because we feel safe and secure with people who look, talk, dress, and think like us. Sometimes, when we meet people who are very different from us, we may find them strange and unfamiliar. At times, we may not understand or know the reasons why they are different from us. People also form certain attitudes and opinions about others who are not like them. Look at the statements below that you believe to be true about rural and urban life in India. Tick mark those that you agree with. Do you have a prejudice against rural or urban people? Find out if this is shared by others and discuss the reasons why people have these prejudices. Can you list some of the prejudices that you have noticed around you? How do they affect the ways in which people treat each other? On rural people, most than 50% of Indians live in the villages. Villages do not care about their health. They are full of superstitions. This is incorrect. People in villages are backward and do not like to use modern agricultural technology. This is also some of the prejudices. In peak harvesting and plantation seasons, families spend 12 to 14 hours working in the field, and villagers are forced to migrate to cities in search of the work. On urban people, what are the stereotypes and prejudices are there? Life in the city is easy and people here are spoiled and lazy. In the cities, families spend very little time with each other. People in cities only care about money, not about people. And living in a city is expensive. A large part of people's earning is spent on rent and transport. City people cannot be trusted and they are cunning and corrupt. So, some of these statements see villagers as ignorant and superstitious and see people in the cities as money minded, lazy, and cunning when our opinions about certain people are always negative. Seeing them as lazy, cunning, stingy as some of these statements, then these become prejudice that we carry about them. So, prejudice means to judge other people negatively or see them as inferior. So, when we think that only one particular way is the best and right way to do things, we often end up not respecting others who may prefer to do things differently. Or, for example, if we think English is the best language and other languages are not important, we are judging these other languages negatively. As a result, we might not respect people who speak languages other than English. So, we can be prejudiced about many things. People's religious beliefs, the color of their skin, the region they come from, the accent they speak in, and the clothes they wear, etc. Often our prejudices about others are so strong that we don't want to form friendship with them. At times, we may even act in ways that hurt them, creating stereotypes. So, all of us are familiar with gender differences. What does it mean to be a boy or a girl? Many of you would say we are born as boys and girls. It is a given. What is there to think about? Let's see if this is the case. Arrange the statement given below in these two sections according to what you think is appropriate for the section. They are well behaved. They are soft spoken and gentle. They are physically strong. They are naughty. They are good at dance and painting. They don't cry. They are rowdy. They are good at sport. They are good at cooking. They are emotional. So, now check with your teacher's help who has put which statement where, find out and discuss people's reasons for doing this. Are the qualities you put in for boys something that boys are born with? If we take the statement they don't cry, you will see that this is the quality that is generally associated with boys and men as babies or children. When boys fall and hurt themselves, their parents and other family members often console them by saying, "Don't cry, you are a boy." Boys are brave, they don't cry. As children grow up, they start believing that boys do not cry, so that even if a boy feels like crying, he stops himself from doing so. He also believes that crying is a sign of weakness. So even though both boys and girls sometimes want to cry, especially if they are angry or in pain. As they grow older, boys learn or teach themselves not to cry. If a grown boy cries, then he feels that others will either tease him or laugh at him, and so he stops himself from doing so in front of others. This is the way boys are, and this is how girls are. These are statements we hear constantly and accept without even thinking, and we start believing that each one of us must behave accordingly. We fit all boys and all girls into an image that society creates around us. So you can take an other statements such as they are soft and gentle or they are well behaved and discuss how these are applied to girls. Do girls possess these qualities at birth or do they learn such behavior from others? What do you think about girls who are not soft and gentle and those who are naughty? When we fix people into one image, we create a stereotype. When people say that those who belong to a particular country, religion, sex, race, or economic background are stingy, lazy, criminal, or dumb, they are using stereotypes, and there are stingy and generous people everywhere in every country, in every religion, in every group, whether rich or poor, male or female. And just because some people are like that, it is not fair to think that everyone will be the same. Stereotypes stops us from looking at each person as unique individual with his or her own special qualities and skills that are different from others, and they fit large number of people into only one pattern or type. Stereotypes affect all of us as they prevent us from doing certain things that we might otherwise be good at. So before moving ahead, let us have a look at this pictures. So here you will see, so in this image you will see that people say all sort of things. I live lisp all this and more. Sometimes I feel so sad and sore. Folks make fun, it's nothing new. If you were I, what would you do? You look so different. I'm a person, I feel shy. From staring eyes I want to hide. Then the next is her mind okay? Just because my legs are wobbly, people think my mind is wobbly too. So here you will see the children you see in the illustrations here were seen as disabled. So this term has been changed and now the term used in is children with special needs. Common stereotypes about them are given in the large letters. Their own feelings and thoughts too are given. Discuss what these children are saying about stereotypes regarding them and why. Do you think children with special needs should be a part of regular schools or study in a special school. Give reasons for your answers. So source is Why Are You Afraid to Hold My Hand by Sheila Dheer. So next is inequality and discrimination. Discrimination happens when people act on their prejudices or stereotypes. If you do something to put other people down, if you stop them from taking part in certain activities and taking up jobs, or stop them from living in certain neighborhoods, prevent them from taking water from the same well or hand pump, or not allow them to drink tea in the same cups or glasses as others, you are discriminating against them. Discrimination can take place because of several reasons. You probably recall from the previous chapter that Samir Ek and Samir Do were different from each other in many ways. For example, they belong to different religions. This is an aspect of diversity. However, this diversity can also be a source of discrimination. Groups of people who may speak a certain language, follow a particular religion, live in specific region, etc., may be discriminated against as their customs or practices may be seen as inferior. Another difference between the two Samirs was in their economic background. Samir though was poor, and this difference, as you have read earlier, is not a form of diversity but of equality, and people who are poor do not have the resources or money to meet their basic needs of food, clothing, and shelter, and they experience discrimination in offices, in hospitals, schools, etc., where they are treated badly because they are poor. Some people may experience both kinds of discrimination. They are poor and they belong to groups whose culture is not valued. Tribals, some religious groups, and even particular regions are discriminated against for one or more of these reasons. In the following sections, we will look at how a famous Indian was discriminated against, and this will help us understand the way in which caste was used to discriminate against the large number of people. So before moving ahead, let's read this para. A common stereotype about Muslims is that they are not interested in educating girls and therefore do not send the girls in the schools. However, studies have shown that poverty amongst Muslims is an important reason why Muslim girls do not attend schools or drop out from schools after a few years. Whenever effort has been made to reach education to the poor, there the Muslim community has shown an interest in sending their girls to school. For example, in the state of Kerala, the distance between the school and the home is not much. There is a good government bus service that helps teachers reach schools in rural areas, and over 60% of the teachers are women. These factors have helped children from poorer families, including Muslim girls, attain schools in much larger number. In other states where such efforts have not been made, children from poorer families, whether Muslims, tribal, or so-called lower caste, find it difficult to attend schools. Therefore, poverty, not religion, is the cause for non-attendance of Muslim girls in the school. So next is we are going to read on being discriminated against. So people are engaged in different kinds of work like teaching, carpentry, pottery, weaving, fishing, farming, etc. to earn a livelihood. However, certain kinds of work are valued more than others. Activities like cleaning, washing, cutting hair, picking garbage are seen as tasks that are of less value, and people who do this work are seen as dirty or impure. This belief is an important aspect of caste system. In the caste system, communities, groups of people were placed in a sort of ladder where each caste was either above or below the other. Those who placed those who placed themselves at the top of this ladder called themselves upper caste and saw themselves as superior. The groups who were placed at the bottom of the ladder were seen as unworthy and called as untouchables. Dalit is a term that people belonging to so-called lower caste used to address themselves, and they prefer this word to untouchables. Dalit means those who have been broken. This word, according to Dalit, shows how social prejudices and discrimination have broken. The Dalit people, the government refers to this group of people as scheduled caste. Caste rules were set which did not allow the so-called untouchables to take on work other than what they were meant to do. For example, garbage and remove dead animals from village, but they were not allowed to enter the homes of upper caste or take water from the village wells or even enter temples. Their children could not sit next to the children of other caste in school. Thus, upper caste acted in ways which did not give so-called untouchables the same rights as they enjoyed. What is the difference between discrimination and stereotypes? How do you think a person who is discriminated against might feel? So, Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar, one of the greatest leaders of India, shared his first experience of caste-based discrimination, which took place in 1901 when he was just 9 years old. He had gone with his brother and cousin to meet his father in Koregaon, which is now in Maharashtra. Long did we wait, but no one turned up. An hour elapsed, and the station master came to inquire. He asked us for our tickets. We showed them to him. He asked us why we tarried. We told him that we were bound for Koregaon and that we were waiting for father or his servant to come. But that neither had turned up and that we did not know how to reach Korega. So we were well dressed children. From our dress or talk, no one could make out that we were children of untouchables. Indeed, the station master was quite sure we were Brahmin children and was extremely touched at the plight in which he found us. As in usual among the Hindus, the station master asked us who we were. Without a moment a thought, I blurted out that we were Mahars, and Mahar is one of the community which were treated as untouchables in the Bombay presidency, and he was stunned. His face His face underwent a sudden change, and we could see that he was overpowered by a strange feeling of repulsion as soon as he heard my reply. He went away to his room, and we stood where we were. 15 to 20 minutes elapsed. The sun was almost setting. Our father had not turned up, nor had he sent his servant, and now the station master had also left us. We were quite bewildered, and the joy and the happiness which we felt at beginning of the journey gave way to a feeling of extreme sadness. After half an hour, the station master returned and asked us what we proposed to do. We said that if we could get a bullock cart on hire, we would go to Koregaon, and if it was not very far, we would like to start straightway. There were many bullock carts plying for hire, but my reply to the station master that we were Mahars had gone round among the cartmen, and not one of them was prepared to suffer being polluted and to demean himself carrying passenger of untouchable classes. We were prepared to pay double the fare, but we found the money did not work. The station master, who was negotiating on our behalf, stood silent, not knowing what to do. Source was Dr. BR Ambedkar, Writings and Speeches, Volume 12, edited Vasant Moon, Bombay Education Department, Governments of Maharashtra. Dr. Bhimarao Ambedkar, 1891 to 1956, is considered the father of Indian Constitution and is also the best known leader of Dalits. Dr. Ambedkar fought for rights of Dalit community, and he was born into Mahar caste, which was considered untouchable. The Mahars were poor, owned no land, and children born to them also had to do the work their parents did. They lived in spaces outside the main village and were not allowed in the villages. Dr. Ambedkar was the first person from his caste who completed his college education and went to England to become a lawyer. He encouraged Dalits to send their children to school and college. He also urged Dalits to take on different kinds of government jobs in order to move out of caste system. He led many efforts of Dalit to gain entry into temples. Later in life, he converted to Buddhism in his search for a religion that treated all members equally. Dr. Ambedkar believed that Dalits must fight the caste system and work towards a society based on respect not just for a few but for all persons. So, despite the children offering money, the cartman refused them. Why? How did people at the station discriminate against Dr. Ambedkar and his brothers? How do you think Dr. Ambedkar felt as a child when he saw the station master's reaction to his statement that they were Mahars? And have you ever experienced prejudice or witnessed an incident of discrimination? How did this make you feel? Imagine how difficult it would be if people could not move easily from one place to other. How insulting and hurtful it is to have people move away, refuse to touch you, or allow you to drink water from the same source as they do. This small incident shows how a simple task of going from one place to another is the cart was not available to the children, and even though they could pay the money, all the cartmen at the station refused to take the children. They acted in discriminatory manner. So clearly, as this story shows us, caste-based discrimination is not only limited to preventing Dalits from undertaking certain economic activities, but it also denies them the respect and the dignity given to others. Discussed in addition to the lower caste being discriminated against, there are also various other communities that are subject to discrimination. Can you think of a few other examples of a discrimination? Discuss the ways in which persons with special needs might be subject to discrimination. Striving for equality. The struggle for freedom from British rule also included within it the struggle of large groups of people who not only fought against the British but also fought to be treated more equally. Dalits, women, tribals, and peasants fought against the inequalities they experienced in their lives. As pointed out earlier, many Dalits organized themselves to gain entry into temples. Women demanded that they should have as much as right to education as men did. Peasants and tribal fought to release themselves from a grasp of moneylenders and the high interest they were charged. When India became a nation in 1947, our leaders too were concerned about the different kinds of inequalities that existed. Those who wrote the Constitution of India, a document that laid out the rules by which the nation would function, were aware of ways in which the discrimination had been practiced in our society and how people had struggled against this. So many leaders of these struggles, such as Dr. Ambedkar, had also fought for the rights of the Dalits. So here you will see women at rally demanding their rights. So these leaders set out a vision and goals in a constitution to ensure that all the peoples of India were considered equal, and this equality of all persons is seen as key value that unites us all as Indians, and everyone has equal rights and opportunities. Untouchability Untouchability was seen as crime and has been legally abolished by law. People are free to choose the kind of work they wish to do. Government jobs are open to all people. In addition, the Constitution also placed responsibility on government to take specific steps to take specific steps to realize this right to equality for poor and other such marginal communities. The writers of the Constitution also said that respect for diversity was a significant element in ensuring equality. They felt that people must have the freedom to follow their religion, speak their language, celebrate their festivals, and express themselves freely. They said that no one language, religion, or festival should become compulsory for all to follow. They said that the government must treat all religions equally, and therefore India became a secular country where people of all different religions and faiths have people belonging to different religions and faith have the freedom to practice and follow their religion without any fear of discrimination. So this is seen as an important element of our unity that we all live together and respect one another. Though these ideals are enshrined in our constitution, this chapter points out that inequalities exist even today and equality is value that we have to keep striving for and not something which will happen automatically. People's struggle and positive actions by government are necessary to make this a reality for all Indians. So here is the preamble given. So the first page of in a constitution that clearly states that all Indians are entitled to equality of status and opportunity. So here you will see a photograph. So this is the photograph. So these were the members who wrote the Constitution of India. So with this we have come to an end of this chapter. Here are some questions. So try to answer them and stay tuned for next lectures and do subscribe to our channel and hit the like button and do try to answer these questions and we will meet in the next chapter. Thank you so much for listening.